Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode. Today we'll go into the historic Jamestown Visitor Center and the surrounding park, which has a lot of archaeological and historical significance. At the time we were there, it was open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., closed Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day. Adults were $15 for those 16 and up. Children 15 years old and under were free. Now go to our last video and we'll show you how we kind of saved a little bit of money with a bundle that we purchased at the Yorktown Battlefield Visitor Center. And as with all museums, I highly suggest you start out in the theaters that give the orientation films. This one was a 17-minute film and was a very unique and exciting multi-screen spectacular. After viewing the wonderful film, there's a little mini museum which gives you a little taste of the Jamestown area with a little bit of information on this and that. Go outside. But of course, before exploring the rest of the grounds, we all know that Elias just cannot pass up a penny machine. So obviously we had to make a little pit stop here.
It has something on both sides.
Neat.
America's birthplace, historic Jamestown, Virginia, founded 1607.
Then we drove to the Woodland Trail, which takes us to the Glass House. But along the short, easy walk, don't forget to read the really interesting and educational information boards inside the Glass House ruins, which is actually real archaeological ruins of a 17th century glass furnace. That forests are an integral part of glassmaking, because glassmaking requires a lot of heat. And in the 1600s, glass furnaces were fired with wood, and England's dwindling forests were unable to supply fuel to meet the increasing demand for glass products. But the glassmakers at Jamestown had no shortage of wood. Inside this weather-protected shelter, you will see a working furnace, a pot kiln, and a annealing furnace, also known as a fritting furnace, and information panels that tell you about the early history of glass and the archaeology of this particular glass house. Continuing down the trail, you will eventually come to the Jamestown Glass House demonstration area, which again, at the time that we were there, was open 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day the park was opened. A little bit of history about this glass house demonstration area is that the Glass Packaging Institute contributed to the erection of this replica of the glass house. The first exhibit structure, constructed by the Jamestown Glass House Foundation, was destroyed by fire in October of 1974 and has been replaced by this building on May 8, 1976. This marks the continuing effort of the Glass Packaging Institute to commemorate America's first industrial business-making venture. As we all learned in class, Jamestown was established by the Virginia Company of London in May 1607. Their 1606 charter, granted by King James I, outlined the many purposes and goals of the company. But like all good companies, its primary duty was to provide a profitable return to the investors. One of the first attempts at industrialization and manufacturing in America was glassblowing. The company hoped glass production might provide the profit that it was looking for. The New World abounded with raw materials, word for fuel and ash, and sand, or silica, for the glass itself. All that was needed were artisans and various laborers to produce this glass. To demonstrate this concept, you are able to watch as modern glass blowers produce wine bottles, pitchers, candle holders, and various other glass objects. Now, today's glass furnaces are heated by natural gas rather than by wood, as it was in 1608. Glass blowers, however, use tools and methods similar to those of the 17th century. Now, the family and I were absolutely mesmerized as artisans formed glass into useful household products like what you see here. And the cool thing is, many of the treasures that you see being made in front of you can be purchased through their sales outlet at the Glass House. And that was the glass blowing demonstration. That was awesome. After the rain finally stopped, we went back to the visitor center to go to historic Jamestown. Now, this is actually what they call Newtown, because Old Town is actually a separate event, which is also called Rediscovery Jamestown. But we'll talk about that on the next episode. After walking the path behind the visitor center to Old Town, you will quickly learn from different information boards that by 1620, the population of Old Town, which is the original part, the fort of Jamestown, had grown to the point where the colonists left that fort to settle and farm larger tracts of land on the island. This was called, what we see here, Newtown. The first homes sprang up just outside the fort walls, and over the years, the town grew further and further to the southeast. Jamestown prospered until around 1699, when the capital of Virginia, which was Jamestown, was moved to Williamsburg. This sent the town into a rapid decline, and most people were gone by the mid-1700s. By this time, only 2 families owned most of the island. A loop path takes visitors past replicas of various building foundations discovered during archaeological excavations. Now, the original foundations, of course, were reburied to help protect them for the future, and the rest of the island can be explored along Island Drive, a 5-mile paved road that is open to vehicles, bicyclists, and pedestrians. This Newtown area and the rest of Jamestown Island is owned by the National Park Service, which acquired the land in 1934. However, Old Town, which is the part we'll see in the next video, is managed by a company called Preservation Virginia, which is a historical society that has owned the land since 1893, at least that part of the island, where the fort and ongoing archaeological digs are done. So again, don't forget to come back for the next episode to see that great video. It is awesome there as well, so don't miss it. As always, have a great day.